Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom TV. Women have an exceptional ability to sense weakness in men, long before men even recognize it in themselves. The sensitivity is not about being judgmental, but rather an instinctual mechanism that helps them assess a man's strength, confidence, and ability to lead. While many men assume that their insecurities remain hidden, women pick up on subtle cues that reveal deeper issues, often without the man even realizing it. One of the first signs of weakness women notice is insecurity. A man who constantly seeks reassurance, whether through compliments, social validation, or approval, sends a clear message that he lacks inner confidence. Women are naturally drawn to men who are sure of themselves, not because they need external validation, but because they have a strong sense of self-worth. When a man doubts himself frequently, whether in his appearance, career, or decisions, a woman can detect this hesitation almost instantly. Even small behaviors, like seeking permission before expressing an opinion or hesitating when making choices, can reveal a deeper uncertainty that weakens attraction. Lack of confidence is another major weakness that women can sense early on. Confidence is not about arrogance or boasting, but about self-assurance and the ability to stand firm in one's beliefs. A man who avoids eye contact, has poor posture, or hesitates when speaking gives off an energy of uncertainty. Women pick up on these signs quickly and interpret them as indicators of deeper insecurity. Even if a man tries to act confident, women can read his body language and tone of voice to determine whether he truly believes in himself. A confident man does not need to prove himself. He simply carries himself with quiet assurance. And that is what naturally draws women in. Emotional instability is another red flag. A man who overreacts to minor inconveniences, gets defensive when challenged, or struggles to control his emotions signals weakness. Women look for emotional strength in a partner, someone who can handle stress, face challenges with resilience, and remain composed under pressure. When a man allows his emotions to control him, it creates doubt in a woman's mind about his ability to handle real difficulties in life. She may begin to see him as unreliable, emotionally fragile, or lacking the strength to be a stable partner. Women's ability to notice weakness is often subconscious. They may not always be able to explain why they lose attraction to a man, but they can sense when something feels off. It is not about perfection. Everyone has insecurity, but about how a man handles them. A strong man acknowledges his weaknesses and works on them rather than letting them define him. The key to overcoming these issues is self-awareness, emotional discipline, and a commitment to personal growth. Attraction is not about appearing flawless, but about being secure in who you are. A man who understands his own value, stands firm in his beliefs, and remains emotionally composed will naturally earn a woman's respect and admiration. One of the most common mistakes men make in their relationships and social interactions is seeking validation instead of earning respect. Many men, often without realizing it, crave approval from others, especially from women. They look for constant reassurance, compliments, or signs that they are good enough. However, this desperate need for external validation does not make a man more attractive. In fact, it does the opposite. It signals weakness, insecurity, and a lack of inner confidence. Women, in particular, can sense when a man is overly concerned with how he is perceived rather than standing firm in his own value. True confidence does not come from other people's opinions, it comes from within. A man who knows his worth does not need to constantly ask, "Do you still like me? Am I good enough?" Instead, he lives with purpose, moves with certainty, and lets his actions speak louder than words. Seeking validation places a man in a submissive position where he is waiting for approval, instead of commanding respect. When a man relies on others to define his worth, he gives away his power, making himself emotionally dependent on their reactions. Women are especially attuned to this behavior. When they notice a man constantly trying to please them, always agreeing with their opinions, or changing his personality to gain their approval, they lose respect for him. A man who lacks his own strong identity is not attractive. Women do not admire men who try too hard to be liked. They admire men who are comfortable in their own skin, regardless of external opinions. When a man stands by his values and beliefs without needing validation, he naturally earns respect. A key aspect of breaking free from the need for validation is shifting the focus from external approval to self-respect. Instead of seeking validation, a man should ask himself, am I living a life that I respect? Am I making choices based on my values rather than on the fear of losing approval? When a man prioritizes his own respect over the approval of others, he becomes unshakable. He no longer needs to be told he is worthy because he already knows it. The Stoic philosophers understood this principle well. Marcus Aurelius once said, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." This contradiction is the root of many men's insecurities. The more a man values external approval, the weaker he appears. The more he trusts himself, the more naturally respected he becomes. To build true confidence, a man must stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward for strength. This does not mean being arrogant or ignoring feedback, but rather developing an unshakable belief in his own worth. A man who respects himself does not need constant reassurance. He focuses on his mission, stays true to his principles, and lets respect come naturally. When a man stops chasing validation, he becomes the kind of person who naturally commands it. One of the clearest signs of emotional weakness in a man is the inability to handle criticism. When a man reacts emotionally or defensively to feedback, it signals insecurity and a fragile ego. Instead of seeing criticism as an opportunity for growth, weak men take it personally, as if their entire worth is being questioned. This defensive reaction not only prevents self-improvement, but also makes them appear unstable and untrustworthy. Women, in particular, are highly sensitive to how a man responds under pressure. And when they see a man crumble in the face of criticism, they lose respect for him. Strong men, on the other hand, approach criticism with reflection and composure. They do not let their emotions dictate their reactions. Instead, they analyze the feedback objectively, asking themselves whether there is truth in it and how they can use it to improve. This ability to detach from emotions and assess a situation rationally is what makes a man mentally strong. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." This means that if a man lacks direction and self-awareness, he will be swayed by every opinion or criticism he hears. However, a man with purpose and inner stability understands that criticism is just another challenge to navigate, not an attack on his identity. Women often test men by challenging them, sometimes even criticizing them directly. This is not always done out of malice, but rather as a way to gauge a man's strength. If a man reacts with anger, defensiveness, or self-pity, he reveals his emotional fragility. But if he remains calm, listens carefully, and responds with confidence, he demonstrates his resilience. Women admire men who can handle adversity with grace, not those who crumble under the slightest pressure. One of the biggest mistakes men make when facing criticism is seeing it as an attack instead of an opportunity. The ability to accept and learn from feedback is a crucial trait of successful and respected men. Instead of immediately rejecting criticism, a strong man asks himself, is there any truth in this? What can I learn from this? This mindset shift allows him to grow rather than become stuck in his own ego. Furthermore, mastering criticism is not just about dealing with others, it is also about self-criticism. A strong man is his own harshest critic, always looking for ways to improve without needing external validation. He does not fear being wrong because he understands that growth comes from learning and adapting. This ability to self-reflect and make necessary adjustments is what separates weak men from strong ones. In contrast, a man who fears criticism will avoid challenges, reject feedback, and stay in his comfort zone. Over time, this makes him stagnant, uninteresting, and unattractive. No one respects a man who is too afraid to hear the truth about himself. The strongest men in history, from philosophers to warriors, have all understood that true strength is built through adversity and learning. In the end, the way a man handles criticism is a direct reflection of his character. A weak man lets it break him. A strong man lets it shape him. If a man wants to earn respect, he must stop fearing criticism and start using it as a tool for self-improvement. A man's ability to stay calm under pressure is a key indicator of his strength. Overreacting to small problems is a clear sign of emotional instability. And nothing turns people away, especially women, faster than a man who cannot control his emotions. Whether it's getting angry over a minor inconvenience, panicking over small setbacks, or becoming overly dramatic about everyday issues, these reactions make a man appear weak and ungrounded. Women, in particular, are highly attuned to a man's emotional stability. And if they sense that he cannot handle small problems with composure, they will assume he cannot handle bigger challenges in life. Imagine a man losing his temper because his coffee order was wrong, or because someone cut him off in traffic. These reactions may seem trivial, but they reveal a deeper issue, a lack of emotional control. If a man lets minor inconveniences dictate his mood, how will he respond to real adversity? A woman observing this behavior or will quickly lose trust in his ability to remain strong. When faced with serious problems, she needs to feel that the man she is with can be a source of stability, not chaos. On the other hand, mastering emotional control is one of the most attractive and powerful traits a man can develop. A man who remains calm in difficult situations demonstrates confidence, resilience, and inner strength. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle applies directly to how a man handles daily frustrations. Life is unpredictable, and challenges will always arise. But a strong man understands that his reactions determine his outcomes. One of the best ways to build emotional control is through perspective. When faced with a frustrating situation, ask yourself, will this matter in a day, a week, a year? Most of the time, the answer is no. Training yourself to pause before reacting, to assess a situation logically rather than emotionally, will transform how you handle life's difficulties. This simple shift in mindset not only prevents unnecessary stress, but also earns the respect of those around you. Furthermore, emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings, but about responding to them with wisdom. A man who can acknowledge his emotions without being controlled by them is truly powerful. Women admire men who can handle frustration, disappointment, and even anger with grace and maturity. This doesn't mean never feeling emotions, it means knowing how to channel them productively, instead of letting them explode irrationally. In contrast, a man who overreacts to small problems will always seem unreliable. His emotional volatility creates instability in his relationships, his career, and his personal life. Over time, people, especially women, will start to distance themselves from him, as no one wants to be around someone who constantly turns minor issues into major crises. Ultimately, the ability to stay calm under pressure separates weak men from strong ones. Mastering emotions is not just about attraction, it's about becoming the kind of man who can navigate life's challenges with confidence and composure. Women respect and are drawn to men who bring stability, not chaos. Self-control is one of the most defining traits of a strong man. It separates those who are ruled by their impulses from those who lead their own lives with purpose and discipline. A man who lacks self-control, whether in his diet, habits, emotions, or actions, exposes his weakness for all to see. Women, in particular, are highly perceptive when it comes to spotting a man's lack of discipline. They instinctively understand that a man who cannot control himself will struggle to provide stability, security, and direction. Indulgence in instant gratification is a major red flag. Whether it's binge-watching social media, overeating junk food, constantly seeking entertainment, or giving into every fleeting desire, these behaviors signal a lack of strength. A man who cannot delay gratification for the sake of a bigger goal will never achieve greatness. Women recognize this weakness immediately, and it is deeply unattractive. A man ruled by his impulses appears immature and unreliable. If he cannot control his eating habits, how can he control his life? If he wastes hours scrolling on his phone instead of working on his goals, how can he be expected to lead a family or a business? On the other hand, discipline is magnetic. A man who sets rules for himself and follows them earns respect effortlessly. When a man prioritizes his health, his mind, and his ambitions over temporary pleasures, he exudes power. He is not controlled by NGS. He is in control of his own destiny. This level of discipline naturally commands admiration from those around him. Women, in particular, find disciplined men incredibly attractive because they see in them the ability to commit, to persevere, and to stay strong when times get tough. The Stoic philosophers believed that self-control is the key to true freedom. As Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This means that true strength is not about physical power or external status, it is about mastery over one's own desires and impulses. A man who can say no to distractions, unhealthy habits, and unnecessary temptations is truly powerful. He is not a slave to his emotions or crave, he is their master. Building self-control starts with small, consistent actions. Wake up at the time you set, not when you feel like it. Stick to a workout routine, even when you don't want to. Choose nutritious food over processed junk. Limit time on social media and focus on meaningful work instead. The more a man trains his mind to resist immediate gratification, the stronger he becomes. Women admire men who have the discipline to commit to their goals and follow through on their promises. A man lacking self-control will always struggle in life, relationships, and career. His lack of discipline will make him unreliable and untrustworthy, and over time, people will stop respecting him. But a man who develops self-discipline gains an unshakable sense of confidence and purpose. He no longer needs to seek validation because his actions speak for themselves. Women respect and are drawn to men who exhibit self-mastery, knowing that such a man can provide strength, stability, and leadership. One of the biggest signs of weakness in a man is his inability to walk away from a situation that no longer serves him. Whether in relationships, friendships, or professional settings, men who tolerate disrespect, mistreatment, or unfulfilling situations out of fear of loss ultimately lose the respect of those around them, especially women. A man who does not know his worth is a man who allows others to dictate his value. This lack of self-respect makes him appear weak, desperate, and unworthy of admiration. Women are naturally drawn to strength, and part of that strength is the ability to set boundaries and enforce them. A man who stays in a toxic relationship, constantly seeks validation, or fears being alone sends a clear message. He values the approval of others more than he values himself. This is deeply unattractive because it reveals insecurity and a lack of self-respect. A man who is willing to accept disrespect in order to avoid conflict or rejection loses not only his dignity, but also the respect of the very people he is trying to please. On the other hand, a man who knows his worth and is willing to walk away when necessary commands immediate respect. He does not beg for attention, nor does he tolerate behavior that undermines his value. Instead, he carries himself with quiet confidence, making it clear that he will not settle for less than what he deserves. This attitude is incredibly powerful, not only in relationships, but in all aspects of life. A man who is unafraid to leave a job that undervalues him will eventually find better opportunities. A man who is willing to walk away from toxic friendships will attract better people into his life. And a man who refuses to chase a woman who does not appreciate him will naturally draw on someone who does. The Stoics believed that attachment is the root of suffering. As Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This wisdom applies not just to material things, but also to relationships and social status. A strong man does not cling to things, people, or situations that do not align with his values. Instead, he moves forward with confidence, knowing that his worth is not determined by external factors, but by his own actions and mindset. Walking away is not about being cold or emotionless, it is about self-respect. It is about recognizing when something is no longer serving you, and having the courage to choose yourself over the fear of loss. This mindset shifts the power dynamic in every interaction. When a man is not afraid to walk away, he is no longer at the mercy of others. He is in control of his life. Women respect men who set boundaries and stick to them. They admire men who have the strength to say, "This is not good enough for me," and walk away without hesitation. This confidence signals that he is not desperate, that he has options, and that he values himself too much to accept anything less than he deserves. A man who embodies this mindset will never have to chase validation. Respect will come to him naturally. One of the quickest ways for a man to lose a woman's interest and respect is by constantly talking about his ambitions, dreams, or plans without ever following through. Many men believe that words alone can impress others, but in reality, empty promises and exaggerated claims only expose a lack of discipline, confidence, and follow through. Women, in particular, are highly perceptive when it comes to identifying men who talk big, but fail to take meaningful action. A man who constantly talks about how successful he will be, how disciplined he wants to become, or how he plans to improve his life, but never makes real progress, is signaling one thing: weakness. Why? Because words are easy. Taking action, facing challenges, and pushing through discomfort require real strength. A man who talks about change, but never commits to it, is ultimately revealing his fear of failure. Deep down, he would rather maintain the illusion of potential than take the risk of actually trying and possibly falling short. This bahavai quickly erodes attraction. Women respect men who act decisively and take control of their own lives. A man who consistently backs up his words with action is naturally seen as strong, reliable, and capable. Whether it's working toward a career goal, improving physical fitness, or developing new skills, a man who follows through on his commitments proves his value without needing to boast about it. The ancient Stoics believed in action over words. Marcus Aurelius famously stated, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This philosophy is incredibly relevant in modern relationships. Instead of trying to convince others of your worth through words, demonstrate it through your actions. If you say you're going to do something, whether it's starting a business, hitting the gym, or developing a new habit, do it. Let results speak for themselves. A man of action carries a different energy. He is respected because he is reliable. When he speaks, his words carry weight because people know he follows through. Women, in particular, find this deeply attractive because it signals maturity, confidence, and stability, traits that are essential for long-term attraction and respect. Conversely, a man who constantly makes empty promises or overinflates his abilities loses credibility. If he talks about wanting to get in shape but never actually works out, if he promises to improve his life but keeps making the same excuses, or if he brags about his future success without taking a single step toward achieving it, people, including women, quickly see through the facade. The solution is simple: stop announcing and start executing. Instead of telling a woman what you're going to do, show her what you've already done. Instead of making promises, let your results speak for you. Over time, this builds not only attraction, but also deep, genuine respect. A man who consistently takes action doesn't need to convince anyone of his worth. His life is proof enough. Nothing repels a woman faster than a man who lacks direction in life. A man without purpose is like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly, reacting to circumstances instead of shaping his own destiny. Women are naturally drawn to men who have a clear sense of purpose, ambition, and drive. Why? Because purpose signals strength, leadership, and the ability to create a meaningful life. On the other hand, a man who lacks purpose appears weak, passive, and unmotivated, qualities that instantly kill attraction. A man with purpose doesn't seek external validation because his motivation comes from within. He wakes up every day with a mission, whether it's building a career, mastering a skill, or pursuing a passion that challenges him. He doesn't waste time on distractions, mindless entertainment, or temporary pleasures. Instead, he channels his energy into something greater than himself. This level of focus and discipline naturally commands respect not just from women, but from everyone around him. Stoic philosophy teaches the importance of living with intention. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoics, once said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." In other words, a man is defined by what he strives for. Without a higher goal, he becomes stagnant, and stagnation leads to mediocrity. Women recognize this instinctively. They want a man who moves with purpose, who has a vision for his future, and who isn't afraid to chase it. Contrast this with a man who drifts through life, unsure of what he wants. He may complain about his job, his lack of success, or his inability to make progress. But he never takes decisive action to change his situation. He spends hours scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV shows, or numbing himself with distractions instead of working toward something meaningful. Women see this bahavai or as weakness, and rightfully so. A man who lacks purpose is not someone she can rely on, trust, or feel inspired by. Purpose is also deeply tied to confidence. When a man knows where he's going in life, he exudes a quiet, unshakable confidence that doesn't need to be forced. He doesn't have to prove himself to anyone because his actions speak for him. Women are drawn to this type of energy because it makes them feel secure. They know that a man with purpose isn't easily swayed, isn't needy, and isn't dependent on them for happiness. Instead, he's focused on becoming the best version of himself, and that's incredibly attractive. If you find yourself lacking purpose, the first step is to take action. Identify what excites you, what challenges you, and what makes you feel alive. Set goals and commit to them. Start small, but stay consistent. Over time, as you build momentum, you'll develop a powerful sense of direction that transforms not only how you see yourself, but also how others perceive you. Attraction isn't about looks, money, or charm, it's about who you are. And nothing is more attractive than a man on a mission. If this message resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that will help you create the life you truly deserve. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.